channel. I am finally out of bed. Oh, I've had the last, oh gosh, almost a week with this flu. I lost my voice. I spent at least 4 or 5 days of that week in bed. So I'm just coming better, where my voice is still a little bit husky, but I'm sort of wanting to get up and do something now. So this is another episode in the Whimsical Wearables. This one's going to be a bag, and I seen Sally from Dotty B Vintage do a bag and it was beautiful. I'll have her links below. This is inspired by Sally, but it's not stitching like Sally's got a lot of stitching on hers. Mine's inspired by a retro theme. You know that I love retro, love how this little ring turned out, and the last retro type whimsical wearable that I did was this green necklace. So I'll have the links to Create and Craft with Christine, So Bits Christy, and Dotty B Vintage. They are the ones hosting this whimsical wearable collaboration, and they will all be down below in the description box, and you can see their channels and see what they're up to. Now, my whimsical wearable, like I said, is going to be a bag. Now, I had these big trays, and I thought I didn't want to do a real small bag. The one that I seen, I'll try and put a link to the video below where the lady makes this, and she makes a lot of other really easy put together bags. She used to plate about 30 something centimeters. Now my tray here, serving tray, is 39 centimeters across, and what I've done is trace that, and I just wanted a tad bigger bag. Now this was an Opshop find. It was a beautiful tablecloth. I don't know whether it was bar cloth because it didn't have a tag on it, but it's got that rough, I don't know whether you can see it on camera, but it's got that rough fabric. Can you see that there on the white? It has got a texture to it, so it could have been bar cloth. It looks very vintage, and I just love the retro pattern on here as well. So I've cut 2 circles out of that. That's going to be the main color. Then I'm cutting 2 circles out of the yellow. That's going to be the inside of the bag. And I need to still cut out, I'm just roughly tracing this, I need to still cut out the handles. Now the handles are going to be, on my one, they're going to be 80 centimeters long because it's bigger than the original that I've seen, so you have to make allowance for that. Right, where did I put my scissors? So I'll just cut this out. Now in the original video, the lady put interfacing on all of hers. This is quite thick, this bar cloth, or I'm pretty sure it is bar cloth, but it's a thick tablecloth fabric, and I'm not going to bother lining it or putting that interfacing on. I don't think it needs it. It's thick enough. So and I'm keeping all my scraps too from my tablecloth, because that will make some awesome little bits and pieces, even if it's just little rings and just, you know. So I love keeping all my little bits and pieces too. Excuse the mower in the background. We've finally had some rain here, and the park management is out doing some cleanup because it's blowing all the leaves off the trees and all that kind of thing. But it's so good to have some rain. It just didn't feel like Victoria weather, what we were having. It was dry as a bone, it was dusty, and my sister, she's in Mildura, that got me. She said they had a really bad dust storm where the sky was orange and all the dust coming up from South Australia. Yeah, it's not good. People lose half their farms when that happens. Alright, so I'm just cutting this out, and the floods up on the coast were horrendous. well, actually I have seen it that bad before when I was a really little girl. Yeah, so it's not good. Right, now I'll just put that aside and we will cut our handles. Now we need 2 pieces for the handles and they need to be, like I said, 80 centimeters long. So let's try and measure that out. Okay, we'll go 15 centimeters. Yeah, so I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking of all these things I can make in my head, but my body was like, I go to want to do it, my body's just like, I can't do it. I hope you're all having a good day and you're happy. Pickle hasn't left my side since I got sick. He's like that. If he knows something's wrong, he'll be stuck to me like glue. Literally. He gets up on my chest if I'm lying down and he'll lay on my stomach. Well, I can't even move. I said to Dave one day, please get him off me. He came home and he's like, what are you doing, Pickle? And I said, oh, please get him off me. He's just won't get off me. Oh, he's a little sweetheart. Very loyal little dog. He's got all his winter get up on now. Yesterday we had snow on Mount Hotham, the first bit of snow, and it was freezing yesterday. It was freezing. Right, let's measure how much I've got here. Now we need 80 centimeters, I said. $48. Here's 80 up here. Right, we've got our 2 handles. I'll just give them an iron. I'll just leave them for now. And go back to the circles. Right, now what we have to do is pin them together. So we have to pin the right sides together. It's hard to tell the right sides on this sort of fabric. I'm just going to pin it together like this. I've got both my circles pinned together, and what I need to do now is go sew around the circumference of this, but leaving a turning hole or a turning gap where I can turn them inside out. Okay, so I'm starting at one end of the seam allowance here that I want to keep open, and we'll go around both the circles. Okay, with the pinking shears I'm just going to cut off my excess, and then I will turn them in the right way. Okay, I've got them sewn together. I've got the little opening pinned up. I've ironed them. So we'll set them aside. We'll take the handles, and these two handles need to be sewn as well. And what the handles need is to be folded into the center, like bias binding is, like that. Give that a press all the way along, and then what you'll do is you'll fold this then into the middle. Oh, I folded that one a bit too big. Yeah. Right, let's do that again. Still got this flu brain fog happening. And then fold them in half again, so you've got a nice folded length. I'll put a pin in that end, and then just keep going and doing that all the way along. Alright, now with the circles, there's this shape in the pattern, and because it was a little square tablecloth, these bottom bits are going to fold up, so I thought I'll utilize this area here that's blank to be that piece. So and you'll understand what I mean when I get going with it. I'm going to measure about 32 centimeters when up the circle. Okay, so once my measure meets 32 centimeters like that, that's where I'm going to draw a line. And this will all depend on how big your circle is as to how big the bottom is. This is going to be the bottom of the bag. So if you want to refer back to that previous video where I found this pattern, you can get an idea of what the lady did there to measure. Okay, so I need to do that on both of them. So I'm going to find this area here in my pattern that I didn't like, and I don't think this doesn't have centimeters, and I'm going to find the 32 like that and just mark that. Across like this. Now this is a friction pen, it disappears with heat, so I'm not worried about that. Alright, now we have to find the middle. So if we bring these points together like this, where they would meet, and then we put a mark up here in the middle, that will give us our middle point. Okay, so that then I can draw a line up to that. Okay, and then this is going to give me a gauge of where I want my handles, because my handles are going to start here on this bottom line that I drew. Okay, and they're going to go up here like that. So I want to just sort of get a gauge of where I want those handles to be. Okay, and that will be the handle up there. So I'm going to how many centimeters across does that measure? That is about 8, is it? No, it's about 7 centimeters. About 8. Alright, so I'm going to put a mark down here at 8, and up here I will go along until I reach the 8, like that. Do that on both sides. Here's the 8, and then the 8 on there. Right, and then that's where my handles are going to get pinned, on that mark, on the 8 mark down here, and on the 8 mark up here, my handles, okay, and then make sure they're not twisted. So I'll put my handle on the 8 mark down here, and where did I put another pin? And on the 8 mark up here. Okay, so I need to go and do that same measurement again on this one. So I'll show you how I did that. I just brought these 2 marks in together. Where are they? There it is there. Like that, and that's going to fold up and show me where that middle is. Okay, and then I'll mark it on there. And then I will put my ruler on and rule it in a straight, like a square, sorry, because I'll put the bottom of my ruler on that line and then mark it up that way. And then I'm going to mark 8 centimeters across, which is here, and then here, and then 8 centimeters across along here, which is there, and 8, yep, and then there. And then I'll bring my other handle in. And we'll pin that one down. And then I'll pin it to the line up the top, so it's nice and straight. And then make sure these aren't twisted. Got a bit of fray off that one. And we're going to pin this one on there. And do I need another pin? Yes, I do. They're all big needles. Okay, I'll put this one in. Right, so we've got our handles pinned on. Now, how I'm going to sew these handles, you start down the bottom here and you go along one edge of the handle, right up, keep going all along the inside, like of the handle bag, right the way down to the other end, across here, and then right around the other handle, and do that to both the handles. Okay, we've got our 2 pieces together and we've got the handles on. I'm just going to take those pins out because we don't need them. They will get sewn up. Now what we do now is match up these lines. Okay, we've got to match up this line with this line. Hopefully they match up. So we're putting the bag in so it's the right sides out now, like that. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. It's whimsical. And I'm just going to put a pin in that because this line here that we drew along here, we have to sew along here. Okay, and then once we sew along there, I'll just put the pin up here actually, and then I can show you. Once we sew along here, we're going to open this out. Okay, but I'll sew this line up first and then we'll talk about the rest of it. That's not, oh, that's probably why it's not ironed out properly. Doing a little bit of puckering, but that's okay. Right, let's get the machine back and we're going to sew, like I said, along that line that I drew with both pieces of your bag together. Right, once you've sewn that line across here, open up your bag. Take that pin out. Open up your bag and pull out the middle like this. This is going to become the bottom of your bag. Okay, I'm just going to give that an iron because we're going to sew around that. Okay, so once you've ironed this oval shape out, we're going to sew around that. Right, and now you've got this sort of shape happening and your bag's starting to come together now. Alright, once we've got that sewn like that, that's the bottom of our bag, we're going to turn it inside out and we are going to sew from this side of the handle around to the bottom and do that on both sides. Okay, okay, once you've done that sewing from around these edges, what you're going to do now is puff out the corner of your bag. Okay, and where's my pen? I'm going to come in about, this is going to make the corners of your bag. I'm going to come in about 6 until I get to 6 centimeters. Okay, and I'm just going to put a line there, put a pin in it, and then do it to the other side as well. And look, I'm no professional seamstress, or you can see my seams aren't straight or anything like that. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm having a go. And that's all that matters. I'm going to put a line here. It's a whimsical bag. You know what whimsical means? It means fun. Fun and different. Something that's fun, something that's different. So I'm having fun. I've been cooped up in bed way too long. Whoops. Wow. Okay, hello. You came off. Right, so we're going to sew across those two corners. And remember, we're working on the inside of the bag. Be a little bit thicker. Okay, once you've done that, you just cut off your excess. Oh, and that's really thick. Just do your best. Right, let's turn this baby in the right way. And see what we've got. Got nice little mitered corners. Push them out. And look at our little whimsical bag. Isn't this awesome? Isn't this awesome? Now, how's my handles going? I'm just checking them out. This is how we get into it. It's just going to be open at the top like that. Okay, and then we just finish it off with some, however we want to close it. I'm just ironing out those lines there that I drew. What's that on it? Just give that a little press. Isn't this the cutest? I might put a button in it. Now, the lady in the original video, she put some snap clips on here, and that's how she finished it off. But I can't do that to a whimsical bag. It needs a proper whimsical closure. So I'm just going to check out what I've got in my stash. Okay, so I've grabbed down my oversized button container. Really love these big buttons. Wouldn't that look cool? No, that colour's not good. I don't have many different colours. That one would look really cool on here, or one of these toggle things would look really cool. Got a big black one. That'd look alright. It's a big red one. That would look cool too. Pink. What about a buckle? That could look nice. I think I'll go with the buckle. I just want to make it different. Okay, so I have no idea what I did with the last part of the video, but I will show you what I did. I know my husband came home during it, so I mustn't have saved it. Gosh. Anyway, I'll show you what I did. I folded a piece of yellow fabric, the same as the bottom, and I folded it in the same way as I did the handles, like that bias binding type method. And I sewed one piece of it onto the back, and then I sewed the buckle onto the front, just hand stitched the buckle onto the front. And then all you need to do now is, because that's a little flap that's sewn on, and then you bring it through your buckle and your closure is on there. Isn't that cute? Gosh, that is so cute. Now you just got to make sure that these round bits are pushed out as well. I may have to press that just a little bit better. These side pieces. And that is the little whimsical bag. Isn't it cute? I just love how that's turned out. Now also you could have put some sort of what do you call it, interfacing in the handles. I think the handles would probably do with being just a little bit stiffer, but this will work. it'll still work. And there's a fair bit of room in there too. Let's have a look. That's the opening. Look how much room there is in there. That's a pretty good sized bag. I'm just really loving this. And you know, it was I think it turned out okay for someone who doesn't normally stitch that well on the sewing machine. Now, if you wanted to embellish this even more, you could go ahead and sew little things on these flowers. But for me, this is a whimsical little bag. I love this retro fabric. I love the retro buckle. And yeah, I'm just really happy how that's turned out. It's ready to go. It's got nice little mitered corners on it. Nice little bottom. And you could just do this in so many different colours or whatever. You could do it in all your different little doilies. You could put all that together and make a little patchwork of all that sort of thing, and put it together with different types of handles and a different bottom, whatever. There's so many different ways you could put it together with different fabrics. Now, I'll have the links to the lady who originally made this bag in the description below. And please pop over and take all your instructions from her. I made mine just a little bit bigger. That's why I showed you the plate and everything. And I'll have the links to the ladies who are doing the Whimsical Wearable collaboration all down below as well. Thank you, Sally, for the idea of making a bag, and I hope you've gained some inspiration from this. I'm a very beginner sewer on a sewing machine, okay, and I found this quite easy to do. Yeah, so check all the links below, and I hope you're all having a great day. I hope to be on here a bit more often now that I'm feeling a little bit better. And thank you to the ladies who sent me well wishes. I really appreciate that. That was very kind of you. I hope you'd like, share and subscribe if you're new here, and press that bell button to get notifications. And I'll see you in a new video. Stay crafty, take care, rug up, it's getting cold, and I will see you soon. Bye.